Inside is a game about, well, many things. It's also one maybe about nothing at all. The story is one of a tangled universe, something that no matter how hard we seem to dive into it, it won't be solved. But our brains are almost wired to try and connect lines that will never be able to connect. The power of vagueness, its reliability when coming to storytelling is one like no other. Setting up pieces to kind of rope our mind into an idea of something but never expounding upon it, to the creator's intent, I'm sure. And that's what I want to talk about today. Hello, I hope you are all doing very well. Today, if it wasn't obvious enough, I want to talk about PlayDead's second game in their catalog, Inside, a follow-up to the critically acclaimed Limbo, two games that I have beaten recently for the first time and two that I won't ever forget. I did 2 videos on Limbo, so you can check them out after this, but today is about Inside, a game as vague and as unsolvable as its counterpart. The tale of a boy attempting to escape this scientific experiment. That's all we get from the game's description, of course, typical PlayDead fashion. But I took a different approach this time. After the credits finally rolled, I had this sinking feeling that this story isn't at all what I had assumed. In fact, this story might not be about anything at all, and that's what I want to discuss today. Now, obviously there is some story implications here, but I want to give my own personal analysis on the story and what I really think this game is about. So if that sounds something interesting to you, then you'll fit right in. The way this video is going to be set up is first I'll give a story summary of my first playthrough, then I'll head into my own analysis of it and then finish off with what this game was really about. Hopefully this video gives some food for thought on the world of Inside. With all of that finally out of the way now, let's get into how Inside tells an unsolvable tale. We start off in a forest, out of breath and alone. It's obvious something is wrong here. We seem to be running from something and it turns out that's true. We are seen hiding from these masked individuals. In just mere minutes we understand the game's objective. Run, and don't look back. As you run and run and run, you pass peculiar sights to say the least. Human-sized pods, dead animals rotting away, and eventually you encounter one of the most important functions of the game, the mind control gear. This function is one of, if not the most important in the game. It helps control the husk of the game, the husk being those pale corpses assuming to be used in these experiments. All of these things being thrown at us at once, the protagonist never even stops to think or say anything, he just keeps running. No questions asked. As we keep on moving further, we realize we're in a much more than just a forest, but a whole civilization. Humans being the ones conducting these experiments on these assumed to be ex-human husk. This dystopian world we live in, there's wildlife and trees, but the gray atmosphere makes us feel as if we're being swallowed whole by this lingering depression. At a point we're almost captured by the humans. We're obviously some sort of threat to them, but regardless of the many attempts to kill us, we just keep pushing. It's almost hard to understand sometimes. What are we doing? Why does this boy just keep on going? It almost doesn't even feel real. We'll find these answers soon enough, but for now we keep going. One of the weirder encounters happened around the midpoint of the game, the introduction of the mermaid. This anomaly, as I presumed on the first playthrough, is one of the husks, with obvious differences, the ability to move, seeming to have some sort of motive to catch you. It even has some sort of Japanese horror trope look, the pale skin, the dark long thin hair, and the white clothing whilst being this anomaly. It's obvious down the road it'll be important, but for now, once again, we keep moving. About halfway through my playthrough, I still didn't have a good understanding of the themes and context behind our journey. It's something that I'm trying to give off when going through my initial playthrough summary, and the game does a good job at portraying a ton of vague concepts. The vagueness on just about every level of this game is astounding when looking back at it. It's something that even now looking at I see why this game is talked about like it is. But that also will play smoothly into my ending summary of my playthrough and into what I think this game is really about. But let's finish the story wrap up, shall we? We end up scaling this factory sort of area. After passing the mermaid earlier, we look and find a way to the upper levels away from the water. But just as we are about to make our escape, however, this happens. one of the most profound and unexpected moments of the game. From what it looks like, the mermaid kills us, then helps us, giving us one of those many mind control looking devices, and instead of sticking it on our head, it's onto our body. The mermaid then seemingly becoming void of its own life now, its body kind of just drifting off into the depths of the water. We are now alive again. With this newfound ability to breathe underwater, it seems on the surface that maybe the mermaid plays a bigger role in all of this than we thought. Maybe even to the point of switching its own life with ours. At this point, it feels as though we serve a greater purpose. We are made to carry out something we don't know, but the mermaid did. All we can do now is take that and keep on moving. So with this newfound power and this life we were granted, we make the final stretch of the game, essentially reaching the game's hidden experiment. As I've said already, this world we live in was nothing more than a dystopia created by the scientists containing us. This is the most proven when we reach the game's final 15 minutes. The most important and shocking turn of events. Our protagonist frees the blob and subsequently becomes one with it. We then ravage through the facility we wandered for so long, not even caring for the lives we crushed as they didn't care for ours. The blob has one seeming goal in mind, and that's to escape. Getting memories from passing this facility, seeing familiar areas but from a different lens this time. But eventually, after minutes of slogging around, we get our conclusion. Freedom, just as we saw fit. Now that's the story of Inside. Now that I delved into a story summary, I want to now get to analyzing the game and the real message. Let's begin. Now that we've been caught up to the speed on Inside, I want to take a look at a lot of the themes that may have been present in the game, some that can help find out what this game was really about. First, I want to get a good look at the idea of being alone. This game essentially until the end had many themes of showing this vulnerability. Starting in a forest is one of those perfect places to display loneliness. Dense, forbidding forests can symbolically represent loneliness, and us being alone running and starting off in that condensed forest displays the theme of loneliness exceptionally well. Games with so many little nuances always give each moment or area a meaning. I think the beginning phase displays that side of being alone very well. I think another prominent theme was the idea of how humans or society treats the perceived lesser beings. This is a bit more of a touchy subject, but I wanted to touch nonetheless as this game is pretty centered about it. The idea of treating some people as lesser beings isn't a new thing. There's been many instances of this being the case, even animals do it. The smaller the group get treated differently. That's been a thing for centuries really. In my mind though, I believe everyone to be equal. We all are valuable lives and deserve to live amongst each other in harmony. Well, Inside portrays that dark side, portraying these husks as just scientific experiments, keeping them in cages like dogs and disposing them when they see fit. This game sheds light on how reality is cruel sometimes, how the humans in the game are able to just manipulate and control those of their kind in a cold reality. And the biggest and most important theme I suggest is one of control. I think the idea of control is the most prominent throughout the game. From the beginning we were essentially controlled beings, whether it's from the lens of being controlled by the scientists or even by the blob itself. The scientists controlled our living situation. They controlled the way this dystopia worked. The mind-controlled devices used by the scientists proved that. I believe that when they saw what those animals at the beginning of the game had done to them by that mind-eating parasite, they used that as an inspiration to make their own. Those animals themselves were controlled against their will as scientific experiments. No different than the husk. And of course we have the control of the blob, which I assume to be by luring the protagonist to come and save it. Remember what I kept saying throughout the story summary? How the protagonist had just kept going without any real deduction of the situation? Well, I think when the protagonist was killed by the mermaid, she gave us that mind-control device. We then had become a husk as to reach the blob as the mermaid's body couldn't. The blob used the mermaid's body as its first host, and needed us to be the real one, successfully planting the device on us and giving us our real mission. I know this because why else would the boy go to the blob and take off the obvious mind-control devices on it? It freed the blob and in return became one with it. Each level and person of this game had some sort of control attached to them. And of course I'm going to mention the secret ending, the canon ending in my eyes, as it's the most complete feeling ending. Once collecting all of the game's secret orbs, we get to unlock the secret ending. Here it is. What this symbolized to me was the end of the control. We pulled the plug on the mind's control's real host, and in return the protagonist is freed from the control of us, the scientists, the blob, and most importantly, the game. This was an awesome experience from top to bottom. The world building, the vagueness, the ambiguity. It's one of those games you sit and think about for a while once complete, an experience unlike any other. And that'll leave me with one last question to answer, and one I'll leave the video off with. What was Inside about? Well, this might sound simple and maybe not as profound as other answers out there, but in my opinion, Inside is about art. There is no answer to what this game is really about, and there won't ever be. But what I do know is that when it comes to the art of making a game's world so vague and complex at the same time, Inside does it so well. Part of the game is meaning to theorize. It's part of what makes Inside, Inside. The idea of theorizing and putting together pieces of something to make up your own story is what makes this game's story valuable. Sounds a bit cheesy, I know, but I truly do believe that. People's ability to theorize and the game's ability to make you want to theorize is how Inside tells an unsolvable tale. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to watch me of all people who make content on YouTube. I'm nowhere near the best, but I do intend to be better as I continue down this content creating journey. And thank you for the support recently. My videos have gotten a lot of good feedback from a ton of great people. Thank you for just sitting here and listening to a random guy like me talk about games I like. It really means a lot. If you're new here, why not like and subscribe? I make analysis type of videos like this for a ton of different games, so if that's something you might enjoy, why not stick around? But that's all for me. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.